Okay, this is the rich media dedicated especially to the assignment that I'm doing for my master's. It was suggested to me that I should start paying attention to the works of Holzhausen and Vertich and Baudrillard and Foucault and Derrida and other postmodernist thinkers. And so I did that, and I'm more confused than ever. So postmodernism is a broad brushstroke that basically started somewhere in the mid-20th century, around the times of the beatniks, etc. It questions and dissects and critiques everything. I love that about postmodernism. I struggle with the lack of functional boundaries within postmodernism, but one takeaway that I can absolutely apply to the practice of public relations and the digital revolution is the application of power dynamics. Now, it was very clear through reading Darren Holzhausen's book, Activism, Public Relations as Activism, that she's no fan of clearly defined ethics. She came up with really amazing titles such as Ethics and the Problem with Women. Obviously a staunch feminist, and obviously a very, very clever woman who I'm going to put it on my bucket list to have a conversation with at some point in my life. I would like to read this excerpt about the dynamic of power, and then I'd like to apply that to the relationship and the public relations work that we do with ChargeNet. So, the dangers of public relations power. Although postmodernism does not critique capitalism in the same way Marxism does, not since the Depression has the postmodern suspicion of predatory capitalism been as vindicated as this stage in world history. Postmodernists focus on how power is discursively constituted through political and knowledge processes and view Marxism as merely another form of capitalism. That's Holzhausen from 2011. Thus, postmodernism focuses on the use of language and meaning creation in establishing systems of power in society. Are you confused? Because I am. But basically, the really great thing and the really frustrating thing about postmodernism is it encourages you to question everything. What I see our job as the public relations practitioners working with and on behalf of ChargeNet as being is encouraging as many diverse communities, individuals. We have libertarians and staunch fundamentalist Christians and progressive Christians and Jews and Islamic people and Hindus and a huge variety of agnostic, religious, and atheist human beings that come from various parts of the globe and various backgrounds, and they all agree that buying and driving an electric car or using electric transport on any level is a step in the right direction for humanity. Now, that to actively go out and take that step and purchase a car as an early adopter makes them huge activists in the best possible way. It's an activism that doesn't necessarily harm too many people. Sure, there's going to be global effects, which the postmodernist thinker would encourage us to actively think about, such as the fall of things like the service industry for mechanics and so forth. Money not spent on maintaining vehicles that are traditional internal combustion vehicles, such as spark plugs, oil changes, all that sort of thing. There's an entire industry that is pretty much going to start to decline with the herald of electrification of transport. But then there's the potential for car sharing and valet and paint and bodywork shops to open up, and new and as yet unseen economic channels and potentials to grow. So that basically, the reason that I'm going to be applying postmodernist thinking and theory to the overall conversation I'm trying to have on behalf of ChargeNet is that you'd never hear anybody in the organization or that supports the organization say something like, well, this is the way we've always done it. You're actively encouraged to question the way things are done, and you're actively encouraged to be actively involved in your own way as your own individual. And while people in the community might not always be on the same page on certain things, we've got vegans and we've got very carnivorous people and we have sustainable people, and then we have extreme capitalists that do prefer the finer things in life. And the nice thing about the community is there's not a lot of judgment, and we just try to learn from each other, and as long as we're all on the same page and moving together and actively being activists and choosing the electric vehicle conversation and revolution, we're changing the world. And yeah, I hope that I at least somewhat understood what Ms. Darana Holtzhausen was trying to communicate to me, because that's my understanding of why we do apply postmodern thinking to the conversation of electric vehicle adoption globally, and particularly at this point in New Zealand. Thank you very much, and I'll be back with one more video. Thank you.